Today I'm going to compare the two methods Tangzhong versus Yudane in a regular sourdough bread. Will they give the same result? Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to compare Tangzhong to Yudane. Both methods trap water in the dough by gelatinizing the starches in part of the flour of the dough. Tangzhong is made by mixing flour and water in the ratio 5:1, then heating it to 65 degrees Celsius, 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Yudane is made by mixing the flour and the water 1:1, and then mixing boiling water into the flour. The mixture should be cooled down, and then it can be mixed into the dough like any other ingredient. I decided to compare the same amount of flour in the Tangzhong and the Yudane, which means that more moisture will be trapped in the Tangzhong. To make this experiment complete, I should probably compare the Tangzhong and the Yudane where the water content is the same, but we'll see how this turns out. If you'd like a recipe for a Tangzhong sourdough bread, I made one previously, which is linked in the card above. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. My goal is to show you how to get the most out of every ingredient, and I want to teach you how to do that in simple and understandable steps. So join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. I'll be making 3 loaves, a control, which is made the same way as my master recipe, one made with Tangzhong and one made with Yudane. The composition of each bread is exactly the same, which means there is the exact same amount of flour, water, starter, and salt. But in the Tangzhong and the Yudane, some of the flour and water will be taken out to make the roux. There's 80% bread flour and 20% rye flour, 2% salt, and 20% inoculation. The hydration is 90% because that will accentuate the effects. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Thank you. Those were the words. This is the experiment. This is an experiment, not a recipe. I'm leaving formulas for the breads down in the description, and you should be able to follow along. First, I make the Tangzhong by mixing the flour and the water. Then I put the mixture in my microwave and I give it about 1 minute and 10 seconds. It should be on or above 65 degrees Celsius, 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I mix it up until it looks coherent. Then I put it aside until it's cooled down. Then it's time to make the Yudane. I put the water in a microwave-safe dish and nuke it until it boils. Then I mix the boiling water into the flour. After I've mixed for a while, I knead it until all the flour has been kneaded in. After the Tangzhong and the Yudane have cooled down, it's time to mix the doughs. First the control. Then the Yudane. I add the Yudane to the water to try and break it up a bit. And then the Tangzhong. Then I leave all the doughs to rest for 1 hour. Then I do the first set of stretch and folds. Then the second set of stretch and folds. And the third set of stretch and folds. Since each dough passes the Windowpane test, I put them all in a bulking container and let them grow 25%. It's important to note that I don't use time as a way to tell if fermentation is done, but I use how much it's grown instead. All the doughs are ready at the same time. Then I pre-shape each dough. I let them rest 20 minutes on the counter. Then I proceed to final shape all 3 doughs. Then I let them rest in the fridge for about 18 hours until the next morning. The next morning I heat my oven to 260 degrees Celsius, 500 degrees Fahrenheit. When the oven is good and hot, after about 1 hour, I proceed to bake. I grab the controls straight from the fridge. Dust the bottom with rice flour so I can easily slide it off the peel. Flip it onto the peel. Score it. Wow, that's spreading fast. And then into the oven. After 20 minutes, I lift off the top and I turn the oven down to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not happy with this one. Then I bake for another 20 minutes. You know, from this angle, it doesn't look half bad. And then it's time to bake the Yudane. Same procedure. It's spreading a little, but nothing like the first one. Then the Tangzhong. This is looking good and sturdy. Let's have a look at the crumb. And I know y'all love to see them together. And then a quick sniff and taste test. Smells great. Oh, really nice. Even though it's flat, it's great bread. This one tastes the same. And no difference in this third one. They all taste the same. So it's apparent that using Tangzhong or Yudane obviously traps water, making it possible to make much higher hydration bread than you can usually do with the same flour. In this case, I can easily make an 80% hydrated bread with my regular bread flour, but obviously 90% was too high for this flour. If you look at the two doughs with Tangzhong and Yudane, they looked almost identical. The Yudane was a wee bit more wet, but nothing that couldn't be handled. So why would you want high hydration? No, it's not for an open crumb. It's for shelf life. The more water you have in your bread, the longer it stays moist. So even if you can't get a highly absorbent bread flour, you can still incorporate more water into your bread using either a Tangzhong or Yudane. So does this experiment warrant a new experiment where water content in the roux is kept the same to show that the Yudane might be more powerful than the Tangzhong? Let me know in the comments. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.